Greetings, everybody. This is Jose. I have Randall, Bradley, and Ronald with me. And today's topic was suggested by a comment we received in one of our previous podcasts. Today, we're talking about the C3 network. And I'm going to let Bradley take over. And this, so he can give you the information as it's going. He is our resident expert on C3. Although I believe the others have got more have depth experience in it than I do.
All right. As we talked about, we're going to work with our C3 network. For those who don't understand what C3 is, it's a piece of equipment in the mechs that you can connect up to a lance. You'll need a master, which is going to be your main computer hub, and you'll have three others with it that are considered slaves. We lost Bradley. He completely dropped out. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Really what it does is it helps you out with your hit numbers and stuff like that, because if you get a unit in that's connected to the network, it can feed information to your other units, and you can actually use it to attack kind of at that range. So for instance, if you have a locust that has the C3 slave in it, that's close by within 6 inches of a target that has, and it's got line of sight, and say you have your awesome with the C3 master in it that's communicating, that awesome can use its long range punch and use the short range modification. So instead of rolling a +4, it would be rolling a +0. So it makes it a little bit easier to hit with that information.
Hey, is Bradley back on?
Bradley back?
Hey, you guys hear me?
Now we can hear you, yeah.
Sorry about that. Comstar just cutting in on me, bro. I'm going to have to send somebody out to take care of those ROM agents.
Well, you're about to let go of some secrets, so yeah, you're not allowed to do that. They're listening.
Oh, yeah.
We weren't talking about C3I, which is, ComGuard's other version of C3, but it's a C3I, which we do plan on.
Go ahead.
We do plan on covering that tonight, too, I do believe, right?
Yes, I definitely, all the systems, including the clan variant, which I called again the crew, I think it is, crew system.
That's one for society?
Yes, because, there's going to be players out there to play that too, and I think we need to cover that one as well.
Sounds good. I'll actually look the name up. I don't think it's the crew, but I'll look it up for you real fast.
Yep.
All right, I basically gave a short rundown of what C3 is. If you want to go into more detail, go for it. But I talked about needing a master and a C3 and the three other slaves, and kind of run down what it does. But you're the more expert of that, so we'll let you rehash what I just said.
Oh, absolutely. Like what Ron's saying, with the C3 network, it is for the Innisphere version, which was created by House Kurita. It definitely allows a company to fight as one. You're going to have a grand total for all 12 mechs to be hooked up to the system. You need a grand total of 4 master units and 8 slave units. The master unit can be allocated into, one unit can have 2 master units to be as the overall commander. Majority of the time you'll find those types of models in the Sunder Omni mech, which will have a majority of them, like the B variant definitely has an MHQ capability of 10, which means it has 2 C3 masters. The C3 master also comes with another thing. It's like a little kick it added bonus. It comes equipped with tag, so always remember that. What you want to do is typically have the C3 master in either a heavy or an assault vehicle type to give it protection. And then you get yourself with 4 little quick buggers that move so fast, like a good mech in this case would be either an Owens, a Raptor, a Strider, or a few mechs that would have C3 capability. And you use those guys to close the range to where your brick throwers, your powerhouses like your Archer, your Warhammer, can turn on and throw a lot of damage at the short range bracket. You got to remember also with the C3 network and all C3 systems, regardless if it's a C3I or the clan variant one, you have to have line of sight to the target. So you can't have somebody in the network who's getting the bonuses of it for being able to be at short range if they're behind having their line of sight blocked. All it affects is just the range modifier. Doesn't change the scope of what you're looking at it from the tank. Like if the target is behind a level 1 building and gets a partial cover, it's still going to get that partial cover even if your unit is at short range and is behind it. You don't get to neglect that. The only thing you get to neglect is not needing to roll a 4 anymore. You're now a 0 because the unit that has the C3 system is able to run behind the unit and make your attack at a short range. Typically, it's always good to have a couple fast runners and 1 or 2 brick throwers as the other remaining 4 mechs that could have a C3 system to make it in an effective use.
Quick question, Bradley.
Yes.
Aren't there some infantry units that have C3?
Yes, but that's not. Well? No, not. It's a different format with that. That's more like the C3I system, and that's more like the Word of Blake will have those. Okay. When we get to discuss those when we go into that one. But this right now, I want us to focus on the C3I. Sure. The system itself is basic understanding. Need 4 masters. And the rest of the units can be all slaves. The only way you defeat this is ECM. Cut the unit off. You can't, unless you destroy one of the master units, they all still can utilize everything except for if you say argument, you have 4 mechs that have C3 master system. You don't take out the one that's got the 2 C3 masters. You have one that takes us, say, leading lance A, B, and the model 1 and C is the one that has the 2 C3 masters. You can take and kill, or take out the other C3 master, but that only eliminates the units in that lance to be cut off from the network. If you destroy the unit that's in, say, lance C that has the 2 C3 masters, you break the network where it covers the whole company, and the C3 system still works for the other units that still have a C3 master attached to it. I mean, it's a pretty good tactic to use, and we actually are looking on February 1st to run a big game where one of the units for House Kurita actually has a C3 network that's already been pre-built from the source book of, the Dragon's Roar, the one that's in the back. Forget which page that is. That's the one that covers the battle force where you're fighting 2 Irogawa battalions plus 2 companies of Sword of Light, 8th Sword of Light, versus almost what's left of Beta Galaxy. And they actually have a C3 Netmaster system that's in 2nd Battalion, 2nd Company, is a C3 network company, and it's a great model. I emailed you guys this one, and I was thinking maybe we can put this up on the YouTube video so people can see what we're talking about. As far as this list, the list was a Sunder, OB, a Raptor 2 times, OD, a Strider, OC, Avatar, OC, Owens 2 times. One is an O1 and the other one's a OW1B, and one is an OW1C. 2 Blackjack Omnimex, the OB variants, another Owens, and a Nagata. The Nagata is the brick thrower of that formation. I mean, you think about this. You're effective with your C3 network, and you got the Nagata back there. He spits 5 points of damage at long range. And if he's already a skill 3...
Naginata.
Naginata.
As a Draconis Combine warrior, I have to correct you on that one.
All right, my nickname's gonna stick, and I'm sticking to it. And the Nagagata, when he shoots it long, does 5 points of damage at long range. Oh, if he's in the C3 network, his skill is 3. All right, range ain't nothing, because you got somebody that's a C3 network, that's a slave, or some other way that's able to translate. That's a 0. And then all you got left to do is just, what is the target? Did it move? Let's say it's a heavy mech that moved 2. So now you need a 5. There's no cover in between you and the target, so you need a 5 or better to hit him. Versus before, if you didn't have the C3 network system, you would need a 9 or better to hit. So it's definitely having that unit at the right sweet spot is what you want.
And just to iterate here real fast, there actually are 4 configurations you can do with this particular C3 networking that we're talking about. They are on page 81 of the Alpha Strike book. We'll have that as well on YouTube if you want to look them over. There's different configurations where you can have one master hooked up to another master and then 2 slaves. Master with 3 slaves hooked up to the main master, and then another master hooked up to the master with 3 more slaves. That combines all the mechs basically on the network. And then you have another one where you have a particular mech that has 2 masters in it, like Bradley was talking about, and those masters are talked to 3 slaves of that unit, and the other master's connected to the 2 units masters with the 3 slaves attached to that. So like I said, if you actually look at the configurations 1 and 2, that's kind of what Bradley's talking about. Configurations 3, it has 3 masters in a unit. I don't know if I know any mechs off the top of my head that actually have 3 masters in it, or any vehicles or anything like that.
None.
So that's configuration 3, but by doing that, it actually makes a unit in like the Charlie Lance not connected. And then there's also configuration 4, has 4 masters in 1 unit. Don't know of any units of that way either. But that leaves out 2 of the units, one from A Lance and one from C Lance, outside the network.
And another thing too, with you running a full C3 network, if you're playing Alpha Strike and you're using Battlefield Intelligence, a full C3 network system by itself will generate 29 points of Battlefield Intelligence of MHQ, which would give you a substantial boost in you getting some of the bonuses from that system, being able to utilize that rule system in Alpha Strike. You could sweeten it up more by having some of the recon units in there, getting it even more, like it has probe and recon and tag, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically, this person's going to be guaranteed to have an initiative of most of a +2 after it's all said and done, which is pretty gnarly. It's a way of maintaining that system is crucial to a player. But if you lose one, you lose a slave. It's not a big deal. But you got to start worrying about when somebody starts hitting your big boys with the C3 network master system in it. Then you're going to start crippling it away. So has anybody else got some questions about this before we move on to the next one?
Well, we talked about ECM countering the whole C3 network. If a unit, it won't shut the whole network down unless you got the master in the ECM bubble. Then it shuts the whole network down. The main master is connecting the whole company together. If the master for, say, Lance A is cut off, that whole Lance is cut off, but the remaining network comes on. Once the ECM's out of the way, they're reconnected to the network. There also is other ways to get past the ECM. There also is what they call boosted C3 network. That allows you to bypass ECM. The only thing that affects that would be Angel ECM. So it's a little bit advanced step on that. There's also units now that they have later in the years, Emergency Masters. It's basically where one of the slaves turns into the master. It's only good for 2 turns after the master's cut off or shut off, shut down, disabled, destroyed. It only lasts for 2 turns. After that, it actually burns out, and it can't be connected to the master, the C3 network anymore as well. So that's just something else that's for the regular C3 network also. There's also remote sensors now. They act like a slave. They can be connected. One thing about the network is you can't plug and play mech. So if you have a mech that once your network's set, you can't put another mech into that network unless you reconfigure the whole network. So the 12 mechs you got in that bunch, that's the 12 mechs you're stuck with for the whole match. You can't switch and change out of mech. Mech goes down. Oh, I got this mech over here that needs to be. Nope, doesn't happen. Can't do it.
And considering an entire battle is like less than 5 minutes,
right?
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm just touching base because that might be one of the questions. Oh, I got this other mech. Can I swap it in there? No, the network's set once it's set. I think that's everything I believe for the original C3 command, communicate, and control network.
Yeah, I think that we cover pretty much all that. I really honestly think that maybe if a player wants to see how this plays out, download the ACES and build yourself a C3 network company, and then take your PV value and build an army of equal value or whatnot and play it out and see how this C3 system actually truly works. You always got to remember the key rule is the unit must have line of sight to the target to be able to receive the bonus from the C3 system.
Both units have to have line of sight to use it.
Correct. So, I mean, a lot of players miss that.
Yeah. Indirect fire does not get a benefit from
correct
C3.
Correct, which I'm like, why though?
You would think it would, but it doesn't.
Yes, it doesn't.
Both units have to have line of sight to the target.
Now, I could see it, you arguing that it could have a triangulated thing. So if you have, for sake of realism, you could say, okay, your guy has line of sight to the target. Your guy also has line of sight to your indirect fire shooter. Therefore, they can share things. But from the standpoint of easy game use, yeah, you kind of got to follow the rules. The rule is you can't see it, you can't shoot it.
Yeah,
well, you don't get the benefit anyway.
It is what it is, but it's still a good system to have when you have it out in the open. And I think you guys are going to have a fun time playtesting that on the 1st. That's going to be fun to deal with.
In one of the previous games, so I was playing a game, I think it was against you, Jose. So I had 4 units in my C3, and I basically moved my fast unit up into short or medium range, and all of my longer range guys stayed at long range. And of course, I got the benefit of mine. Boom, boom, boom. My first guy got blown up. So then I moved my second fastest unit up into medium range and into short range, and then got all my benefits for shooting from long range. And then when that guy got blown up, I moved my third guy into range, and I kept my master at long range. So that was one of the ways I was able to keep my master safe while still making use of all of the capabilities. Because in that force, I think my long range guys had the same long range or one less than what their medium range damage was. So there wasn't much difference for me being physically in medium range versus shooting from long range.
Okay. Question, Bradley. It's not only the master that gets the benefit of it. Is it also the units in the slaves?
Yeah, the slaves can turn on and do it too. They get the range modifiers, yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying, like, you could have like a good vehicle to have is an LRM carrier. Most of the Wabi variants or Warrior Blake variant will have the C3 system on it already. I mean, it can take a full advantage of it, 100%. It's like, that's why I said when I build a company of a C3, I'll have my 4 master units, and they'll either be, one will be a double, which will probably be an assault mech, so it's got more armor, and the other 2 C3 masters will be in heavy mechs because they can sustain damage and are pretty good, well protected. Everything else is going to be slaves because they're going to be fast. But also, so that leaves me with 8 mechs. 4 will be outright speed demons. The ones that are meant to get up in your face, have a TMM of a 3 or 4 plus to try to shoot them. They're only good for like what Randall did in his example, push one up front. You want to put them all up front, one at a time. That's what they're for, and as long as you make those hits count, that's the key thing. So yeah, you can use the C3 system is effective for all the units tied in, and not specifically only for the masters.
The interesting thing I'm reading here on page 80, it says losing a C3 network. It says a network member will lose its connection to the network if a hostile ECM bubble covers that member or blocks its line of sight to the network's master.
Yep.
Now that's interesting. So it seems like you have to have line of sight to the master to get the benefit.
Okay, think about it like this. Okay, if you want to put it in technical terms, all right, you think of it as like this: the master is the relay station. Okay, every unit has to send their data to the C3 master system to get it relayed to say, yes, this is the coordinates shared. They don't automatically, like, even if you have, like, say, 2 LRM carriers in the back, and you have a C3 master system sitting in another unit, and you have a little fast little guy that's up front. The two C3 LRM carriers don't talk to each other about data. They still send their requests to the C3 master itself, which relays the information to them. So the C3 slaves are set up to transmit, but they can't receive the data directly from another C3 slave system. Crazy, but it's the way it works.
This is where the benefit of C3I comes in.
Correct. We're going to go into that one next.
Perfect segue.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. So if I've got my light unit flying out there, and I've got line of sight to another slave, say my heavy, but then my master is behind a building, because say it's a indirect fire mech, does that break the network? It sounds like that's what it's doing.
No, only if ECM's in the way. Only if ECM. If you have the buildings don't block, the terrain doesn't block. It's only the ECM. If you read it says ECM line of sight. So if the ECM's crossing that line of sight, then yes, it would block the signal.
Okay.
So it's not terrain. Just don't think about the terrains blocking it. Think of that ECM line. If you were to draw a straight line, it's really worded the wrong way. Because it's not really line of sight so it only blocks if it's on that line of sight. If there was an actually line of sight, it's very worded very wrong. But it's definitely if say that slave unit and the master are apart, even though that one unit's medium and is trying to get information, it won't send that information if an ECM's parked in between them.
It's like thinking of it as just a line of communication.
It's interference. It's interference.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, and that's how I understood it from Classic. But reading the rule here was like,
I think Alpha Strike, they've mislabeled it by line of sight, because technically line of sight doesn't need to be established to have the link.
Correct.
Okay,
that's what I thought.
But you got to have line of sight. Wait a minute, you got to have line of sight
To use it
to gain the benefit of using it, to be able to use it for its attack itself.
But here's the whole thing: if you really want to see how it works, okay. So here we got our one C3 slave that actually has short range on a target. All right. Another one of our slaves has medium range with line of sight. So they both have line of sight for that. Okay. Only problem is if the master's cut off with an ECM, that slave unit cannot get the information for short range at medium range. That's where that comes in play, because the master's been cut off.
Yep, that's correct.
Now, if that slave was cut off, if that short range was cut off by itself, now that one that's at medium could actually apply its medium bracket to whatever else is in the units around it, but that short range unit would still be cut off because of the ECM.
That's correct.
By itself. But any other unit that would be long range could use that medium range target because it's outside the bubble, as long as the master's out too. It's all depending on where the ECM is on the table. So when they say line of sight, blocking it, that's why I was thinking that's worded wrong.
All right. And then the other thing is, so you have ECM in the area. If you have a mech with ECM, a friendly mech with ECM,
it can counter.
And they are in counter ECM mode, then they can undo that ECM.
Very correct. As long as it overlaps it to that point, yes.
Yeah. So one of our matches, we had a situation where we had 3 enemy ECM bubbles, all within line of sight to one of my C3 units with counter ECM. So we had to actually measure, okay, is he in the bubble? Is he not in the bubble? Where's this line of sight? It got a little time consuming, but we were able to knock it out.
Yeah, it definitely can get time consuming, yes.
Question. Just so that everyone else understands it listening to the podcast, what's the range of ECM from the mech or the vehicle that has it? Is it 6 inches from center?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
No, the ECM bubble is 12 inches.
12 inches, but it does. I thought you were talking about C3. C3, it's the whole table. As long as any mech connects to any mech any distance. There's no limitations.
Okay, I was talking about the ECM.
The ECM's 12, yes.
Okay. Now, is that 12 from center point or 12 from the center out? Are we talking?
All Alpha Strike measurements are from the edge of your base to the target zone. So it would be outside of your base.
So you're looking at 24-inch circle.
Yeah, 24-inch circle. Okay. That's huge.
It's actually about 25 and a quarter.
Yeah.
That's huge. That can, on an Alpha Strike table, that can definitely take out a couple of the connections.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 2 ECM units, and they're spread out 2 feet apart. They blocked off the entire battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our next one we're going to talk about is what the Word of Blake came up with for theirs, because they only run in groups of 6. The C3 system just doesn't work for them. So what they came up with is their own C3I system, which works in the same concept as the C3 system itself, but the C3I system is only limited to 6 units, and there is no master. They don't get the bonus from tag on it, but they do get all the other bonuses according to like the C3 master and C3 slave system. It's just easier to do. You only need 6 units with it, and same principle, the unit has to have line of sight to the target to be able to gain for it. You can't use it for indirect fire. That's a shame. And it's not just limited only to mechs, it's also vehicles and some battle armor. But it still gets cut off in the range with the same with ECM on it, and it applies with the same rules, guys. Especially if you play anybody that's playing the Wobbies, majority of the time, 99% of the time, they're going to have C3I system in them, especially if they're the Celestial Omni mix.
Very good. Comstar has it as well. Comstar is the original developers.
Okay, well, the Robies, the ROM agents would steal that. We want it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main benefit of C3I is it's more flexible. Like I was telling you before, the example where the 2 slaves can't talk because the master's cut off. This eliminates the whole thing. If someone's cut off, they're just cut off by themselves. The rest of the network still feeds information no matter what. All computers talk, all computers receive. There's no main hub to distribute the information.
That's just nasty when Comstar and Word of Blake got a hold of those. I mean,
yeah.
You're sitting, you got a little Malik running up on it with the C3 system, the C3I system on it, and then there's an Archangel or Sephira in the back that's just throwing murder at long range and just plowing you. I mean, it's gotta kill it.
Yep, gotta kill it. Same with the C3I though, is there is no emergency master, there is no boosted ability, it's just its own separate C3I. That's what you get. There's no other extras to that one. Again, no plug and play. Can't put another unit into it. If a unit gets destroyed or shut down, you can't put another unit into it. It's a connected unit. That's it. 6 mechs. That's all you got.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. So on a C3I, you cannot have mechs on the side that have C3I network.
Correct. It cannot plug back in. Yeah. Once that, you can have multiple C3I networks, but they cannot intercommunicate. They can't benefit from each other. There are 6 mechs, 6 units. That's its own network. Another 6. That's its own network. You get 3 of each unit left. You can't combine it to make a network. They're stuck. They're just 3 networks.
Well, three in a network ain't that bad either.
Well, like I said,
there'll be attrition by that time on both sides.
Right, but I'm just saying you can't combine that. They can't combine those 3 mechs with the other 3 mechs and make one whole network again. They can't communicate. It's one network and one network. There's no interplay between them.
So I think in campaign mode, you should be able to do that. I could see saying, okay, you have to take at least one round out to say,
yeah,
I'm doing a reconfiguration. Yeah,
but that's what the rules are. I'm just saying. Yep.
Yeah, as far as in play, yeah, you can't do it because, again, it's less than 5 minutes that you're representing on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the factions that have C3I, and I've only found 1 unit so far that has C3I that is not exclusively Word and Blake. So Ost Scout is the only one I've seen so far, but I'm still clicking through.
All right, so are we ready to go on to the equivalent one?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up which one.
It's called the Nova Combined Electronics Warfare System.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've never used that one in.
Okay, it's experimental tech. That's why. So it's only really with society. I would like to see it with the other clans, but they're honor bound, so their whole one-on-one type thing kind of the Palm plays that. Just to give you a little idea what it was designed for, I'll just read it real fast. Basically, the society had not mech warriors bred for war. They had cast-offs where they had people who fared their trials. They weren't the best warriors. They had injuries. They actually had scientists actually fighting in mechs as well. So they came up with this system to help overcome their lacking for firing skills and gunnery skills. So that's why this Nova Combined Electronics Warfare System was actually developed. It was actually refined from a lost piece of Smoke Jaguar technology, the Watchdog electronics counterfeit or warfare measures. So that's where it came from. Yeah. So that's where it derived from. Game rules for the Nova operate just like any other C3 network, except it only can combine 3 units together. It has ECM with it, plus an active probe, which is nice, so it can counter its other ECMs by itself, and it has an active probe. The cool thing about this one is it can plug and play other units at any time. So if you have multiple mechs with this Nova system, 3 mechs can combine. All it takes is at the end of the turn, guess what? Well, this one's out, this one's in. That's all it calls. So it just calls it out. It does generate heat in Classic. I'm not sure what it does for Alpha Strike. I've not really seen it on the Alpha Strike cards, so I'm not really sure. But it would be fun to figure out if there is something for this.
What's a unit that has it?
Any of your society mechs. Let's see.
Z-Mechs.
Yeah,
any one of the Z-Mechs. Yeah, any one of the Z, like the Chiquina Z. It's a murder.
It might not be all those, because those were just heavy refits from the society. I'm talking about the actual society mechs. What's the one you ran into, that big one? Started with an O.
Ostoline, I think it is.
Ostoline, yeah. That would be one of the mechs that would have it.
Oh, that let me tell you, that mech was badass. I freaking loved it. It was for classic play. I will play that mech anytime with the ability to use the alternate ammunition that it was doing.
Ostoline, let's see here.
All right, well,
I know everybody ran
29
from
units.
What's that?
There's 29 mechs that have Nova in their special ability.
Yeah, so we got to see what Nova does now for let's look it up, because I wasn't sure it was in there.
Yeah, we got the Cephalus, Toshi, Dragonfly, Pariah, Ryokan, Thor, Mad Cat, Ostion, Savage Coyote, and then Turkina.
Yeah, so it's basically all their society mechs. Even with the Nova Special mounts the special electronic warfare system, not provides ability of, not only does it provide the ECM capability, probe special capability, but also acts like a C3 network that can link up to 3 mechs, like we talked about. Unlike normal C3 system, a Nova cannot be disrupted by ECM, light ECM, or Watt special abilities. It can only disrupt a hostile unit with Nova special ability. So I think you lose the ability to plug and play, looks like, but it can link up to 3 mechs. See page 80. So we're gonna go to 80 now.
Oh man, I just looked up the stats on the Oldstein Prime, and it is nasty. I mean, short range is 10, medium range is 7, long range is 4 with an overheat 1. It has specialty cast 2, crit resistant, ECM, advanced ATM 10, 7, and 4 damage. God dang. It also has Nova, and it has probe and recon.
Yeah, well, that's because the Nova gives you ECM plus active probe.
Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points of armor and 10 points of structure. It's a walking zombie mech, bro. These things are nasty. We may have to actually... I want to playtest a few of these, because I have that fig, and that fig is just... It's too... You just look at it and you're like, I want one.
so it looks like to me the Nova for Alpha Strike loses the ability to combine mechs that plug and play a value, because like I said, in Classic, I know you can plug and play, take a mech out, put a mech in. Yep. But it also looks like you don't generate the heat from it either, so maybe that's why you lose the pay, because you generate 2 heat when the Nova's active in Classic.
Yep.
Well, if they did the conversion right, then that's already calculated in the heat value.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah.
And it's possibly the reason why it has an overheat 1 on the Prime, because if I remember correctly, it's nothing more than a missile boat.
Yeah. It was like what, Street 15s?
I don't think there's any medium lasers or anything on it.
I think it was all Streak 15s.
Yeah. 4 of them.
I'm looking at the picture of it right now in Master Unit List, and it is an impressive looking mech. But
I wish it would.
It'd be nice.
Right. I'm pulling it up now because, like I said, the society mechs are taboo. We don't want to play with the tainted mechs. Can I say tainted?
Looking at the picture, it's like Mike Tyson if he was a Cobra, but still had his arms.
It's improved. It's 4 improved ATM 9s.
Yep, that thing
that's
is
what
nasty.
it is. It was nasty. It did get hot on you though.
Oh yeah, I got hot, but I was able to deal with it because I could turn around and fire. Let me see how you sinks. It was. Everybody ran from the table. I put it on the table. Yeah, somebody had to weather it. I mean, you're not gonna run. But it was fun. I mean, even when Steven turned around and brought out his Jade Phoenix.
You got 10 double heat sinks. That's what you got on it. So you got 20 heat.
Yeah, and let's see. Each of the launcher is 6. So yeah, you fire all 4. You're overheating by 4. It don't take long to overheat. No, but you're
not
still.
One. You gotta
see how much ammo does this bad boy have? Oh God, I remember now. He's got a ton load of ammo. He's got more ammo. He could just fire every turn and not have to worry about it.
3 in the ammo locations. 3 in the head, 3 in the arm, 2 in the left torso, 3 in the right arm, and 2 in the right torso.
I mean,
ammo for days.
Brutal, just fire. And there's a couple of these variants are pretty nasty in itself. There's even one with an arrow capability, if I remember correctly.
Did you see all? It's got crit resist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know the Jade Falcons still have it as part of their thing all the way up until the Ill Clan era. They did have these as purely as studying them because the mech, the mech itself, it's just phenomenal. You take out the C3, the Nova system out of it, it's a badass mech.
Yeah. Like I said, I would actually like to see the clan start using the Nova system. I know it's taboo equipment, but I think it'd actually, the new era, I mean, it'd be pretty cool to see it.
Yeah. I'm looking at the distribution of the Prime, and it was only available in the Jihad era for Clan Burke, Coyote, and Society.
Yeah.
So it must be the other. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Well, let's take a look at this one. Also Jihad era, and the same 3 clans.
You're not going to see it anywhere else. It's their society mechs. The clans, like Bradley was saying, they took it to study it. It's not they're going to use it because it's so dishonorable to have that unit because of what they did. It went against their whole culture. It's kind of like you don't see the Celestials because no one wants to use them because it was Wolvie de Blake. It's bad mech. Go away. It's like you don't see the Artemis mechs either. You don't see his mechs from his Republic. From the Rimworld Republic, those mechs kind of faded away too because the taboo behind them. It's kind of a neat thing, but I would like to see them come up, but there's that whole stigmata about them.
But does it really break clan honor if you're just using the targeting system? As long as you fight each other one-on-one.
Well, it's kind of counterintuitive though, right? Because if you're fighting someone one-on-one, you're really not going to be close to anybody else, so you're feeding information to other units that aren't going to fire on it.
Wrong.
So the society did it because, like I said, they didn't care about clan honor. They just fired away.
The real reason is because they did not have enough warriors to begin with.
Right. That's what I said. It was a shortcoming. It was something to help them out. Like I said, they had warriors that were injured beyond basically help. They were crippled and impaired. They had scientists in the cockpit fighting. They had Sonoma older units, and they were, like you said, they were letting basically anybody pilot a mech that was willing to fight for the society. The society was basically the homeworld's caste system revolting against the warriors, and it was led by the scientist, and it was actually kicked off by Coyote and all stuff like that. So it's kind of innate. Like I said, the War of Reaving has a lot of neat information. I'm actually looking forward to those books that are coming out in the War of Reaving, the ones that Jason talked about when we had him on his fire podcast.
I'm interested about that because during the Reaving period, everything went crazy in the clan Shadefall, in the clan zones and back home worlds too. And that kind of torched at the same time that the Word of Blake was doing what they were doing.
Yeah, it was their own jihad and in the home system. And that's why we haven't heard anything from the homeworld clans. And there's no real reason to go back there because there's nothing really. If they said they would go back, only if they could find a story that would need to be told in this era. Because the homeworld clans
That was the
I'm having
response I got when I asked about the Goliath Scorpions or Scorpion Empire.
Yeah.
Unless someone writes an outstanding story that gives us a reason to go there, they're outside the inner sphere.
Yeah. They're just doing their own thing.
Yep.
But
I do believe they're talked about in Ill Clan Eyes Only. I think I see them in there.
I think they are.
Yep. They're definitely in there. So I think all
the Seekers are still there. The Seekers are still out there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's definitely a good book for everybody to get a hold of. I mean, the moment I got my hands on it, it fills everything up with what's going on in the universe.
Is it good throne room reading?
Battles. Yep. I've enjoyed reading it. Yes.
In the throne room?
Yep, absolute. Gotta go there. Gotta sit in. Man.
I did, man.
That's not the throne room. That's his study.
It's a study. Okay.
That's
study room.
No. I got you better. That is my tactical analysis room. Thank you very little.
All right. Is there any back on topic of C3 because we went way out in the left field in the toilet there?
Yeah.
Is there anything left on C3 that we need to cover tonight, guys?
No, I don't think so. I think really, honestly, is each player, if they're interested in try it, do like I said, just go ahead and build yourself look up the rules, get 4 C3 masters, and then get 8 C3 slaves, and build your army, and then turn around, take the same point value, and build another army. Give it some hope and prayer, give it some ECM maybe, and then play the ACES system and test it out and see how it play with it. You know, I mean, it's a fun way to make your a real pain in the butt to somebody, and I'm looking forward to seeing how I deal with that on the February 1st, man.
All right, I'm going to cut in real fast on that real fast. You're talking about point values and stuff like that. The good thing with Alpha Strike is the C3 factor is already factored into the point value. You don't have to do any math. In Classic, you'll have to add, I don't know what the percentage is, to the battle value when you hook a C3 network up. Just keep that in mind. For Alpha Strike, just go by the point value. If you're doing Classic, it's 10%. That's right. So every mech you add 10% to your BV value. It can get pretty high pretty fast. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. In Alpha Strike, the only thing that'll change the point value is the skill of the pilot.
Oh, it's definitely it's D3. You guys are gonna have fun with that as House Karita. I really expect to see you guys start playing more with some C3 system. Now, what's really funny is I haven't seen anybody do C3 system yet in a WolfNet 350 game.
I had a C3 at Gen Con.
I wasn't there, sir.
I couldn't hope the tree fell on you.
Damn tree.
Yeah, but man, I actually surprised quite a few people with my C3 network. It wasn't a full network. It was enough to connect. I actually had a, what do you want to call it, Nova? I had 3 units that connect up, and it worked out. It really surprised a lot of people. They thought the one unit that actually had my master was so they targeted that. It wasn't. It was actually my Ajax, my tank.
Oh,
it was the master.
Ajax tank is nasty. It is.
Yeah, Ajax B. It had the master in it, and I was playing. I felt bad. I was playing somebody. It was like only their second game of Alpha Strike, and I said, "Are you sure you really want to leave your Warhammer 2C next to that Locust?" And he's like, "Why? It's a Locust." I'm like, "I've got C3 hooked up to it." And I explained what it was. He's like, "No, that's okay." Between the Ajax, the Locust, and the other thing firing, his Warhammer 2C did not stay up. Yeah. It kind of went away with turn 1, and he was kind of like table flipping at that point. And I was like, "I tried to tell you 3 times if you want to think that over, but it is what it is." So keep it in mind. It can be a little irritating if you have new players that don't know what it is.
Yeah. And big surprise for me, there is a C3 master and a Panther of all things.
Yes, there is.
Yes. So if you want to throw your players off, your opponent off, throw your master and a Panther and just have him running around sniping like he's supposed to do.
Yeah, because if you get something in short range, he's firing at short range now. Look along. It's great.
Yeah, it's one of those things when I was looking at the Kurita book that just came out. I don't know if you've gotten one yet, Randall. But
I haven't got it yet.
Okay, it's worth it. It's worth it. The game me and Bradley tested out. I should have read more into it and done a little better with my forces, but it's okay. I'm fine with it. But when I saw that you can put a horde of mechs out there. That's up to 10 mechs on the battlefield. They all have to be lights. And I saw a Panther that had C3 Master. I started looking to see if any of those other ones had C3 in them, so I could put together a little horde of 10. And that's considered a lance, by the way. And,
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still can only connect 4 mechs. Yeah, just
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But when I saw that, I'm thinking to myself, oh, this will be brutal. This will be downright brutal. Who can I get with this?
Heck, in Roar of the Dragons, they've got an entire lance of nothing but Panthers. It's just 4 Panthers. So throw a little C3 network in there, and there you go.
Panther network.
Table.
C3 network of Panthers. Sounds like a blasting good time.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, guys.
So I got a quick announcement.
What's up?
For those people who are aware of the Alpha Strike campaign book, I have renamed it, and it's now available on DriveThruRPG. So it is now Blood, Money, and Steel. You do a search for it there, or you can go to my website, sundertepoch.org, and you can download it. It's free. I do have a pay what you want, so if you want to contribute, you like what I've been doing, great. If not, I'm perfectly fine with you guys just taking it, using it, abuse it, whatever you'd want.
Is there an option on DriveThruRPG to have them print it and send?
Not currently. No,
Okay.
you'd have to use a third-party printing site.
That's fine. I've done that with a couple of their products in the past. That's why I asked.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't set up 3D printing, or not 3D.
Yeah.
Print on demand for it.
Hey, it is 3D printing, buddy. It is. When you print
It
with
is.
the printer, it's a 3D print.
It's more than one page, therefore it's 3D.
It's got to count, right?
Yeah.
It's got dimensions.
Yeah, 130 some odd pages or something
X,
like that.
X, Y, and Z, right? All right.
Well, it's mostly simulated cards at the back, so you can do your whatchamacallit? Your
Garrisons.
garrisons, yeah. That's where most of the writing is. Most of the pages come in. But it's a great book,
Yeah, we're doing a campaign here in Spring Hill. We got myself as the Op4 because I'm helping teach the system, and then 5 other players all working in a single mercenary group, all at the same time, all on the same map. So it's a interesting challenge because we're having to flex some of the rules a little bit to allow for multiple forces on the battlefield.
Well, I know this is not C3 Network, but guys, that's what the final edition of Aces is, a competitive, what's the word? A
Co-op.
Co-op game. Yeah, a co-op game. Where a group of people bring their forces, their little 4-mech forces, and go up against a company run by the AI. Using the AI system. Yeah. So they kind of definitely changed it a bit from how they originally started it. But can't wait to get the first box. I want those mechs. I want those mechs.
What's about the mix? It's all okay, sorry.
What's the
What's
mech?
the timeline on that?
Yeah. There's
When are they supposed to be hitting retail with that? Have they got a date?
They said tentatively end of first quarter.
Yeah. But it might be a little bit past that.
We know catalysts and deadlines.
Yeah. So yeah.
So
yeah, but
third quarter.
Yeah. But the interesting part is they're going to put out 4 campaign books, I think. Campaign books.
They are doing 4 Aces type
Different
things
boxes.
for every area of the Inner Sphere. So the first one's going to be based in the Tamar region where the Hitherlands are at. The next one is going to be the domain, and so it's going to be like the Ghost Bear, and I believe Karita, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I'll be happy. I'm getting all 4.
No, it's going to be Empire Alone. Empire Alone would be next, so it's going to be the Wolf and Merrick area. Because it was, and then the next one's going to be the domains divided, so it's going to be Fed Sons, Karita, and Bear. And then the last one will be Ilkhan, which will be the Ilklan, which is the new Star League, and house layout. That's the breakdown.
I definitely got to say, the players want to see what the world is turning into with and Wolf aiming to become an Ilkhan. Definitely getting the Ilkhan eyes only is definitely a must-have to get up on current events and build brand new armies. I love it.
Yeah.
I got the rebuilt Falcon Guards already according to their specifications. I've already rolled on their charts. I rolled to see what mechs the Jade Falcons would have, and I was able to impressively build 2 trinaries, a supernova, and 1 assault binary. And I like what I got.
Well, let's, Bradley. Our next guest that we're going to have on here, Michael Ciravella, wrote a book that you might want to read. That's called BattleTech Trial of Birthright on page 23. I'm getting slowly into it. I like it so far. Can't wait to talk to him about it.
I'm going to check out that one.
It's an outstanding book. I read it already. It's a great book.
Yeah, I
haven't read none of his yet. I've yet to read it. I went and looked. I was like, wait a minute.
Have you not read Damocles Cycle yet, or Sanction yet?
Oh, I have that one. I know I need to read that one.
You need to read Damocles Sanction. We take New Avalon, man.
I know.
Yeah.
Gotta read it.
It's one thing to read a little skits and bits about it, but to actually read the book and see the actual battle firsthand. Oh yeah.
When you're in your tactical command room, just pull it out and read it, man.
Yes, I definitely need to.
But yeah, also that, since it's tied in with our next guest on February, if anybody has questions for Michael, you can please email us. I will try to get those to him. We can't get all the questions. If you do send us questions, it's at MHQ. Help me out, Jose. You're something you don't count up.
I can't think of it right now.
All right, hold on.
Hold on, I'll get it.
I want to take this brief time also to thank everybody for coming to Critical Hits on December 21st when I hosted the Blind Box event.
Tell them about the format.
Oh, the format was just great. What it was is players came in and they played, entry fee, and they automatically got 1 salvage box free. And you came to the table with 350 army, and for the first turn, you could either pick the unit that you got as salvage, but at a skill 4, you could use either side of the card. So sometimes some of these miniatures will have Successor War stats on one side and then Dark Age on the other sometimes. I allowed everybody to play. You just simply took the skill of the PV from your army and reconfigured it on the spot. If you won round 1, you got another second box, so you only were able to gain 2 boxes, theoretically. And you were able to use, I totally missed it. Somebody came out and said, wait a minute, we allowed to use both units? And I didn't think to put that into the rules. And I was like, well, let me just roll the dice. I forgot it. Odd, yes, even no. And it showed up odd. I was like, there you go, fixed. So remember, if you're running an event, if there's something that you don't, just roll the dice. Odd, yes, even no. That's simple. I want to say thanks to... Okay,
right.
Give it a second. I'd like to send. Okay. Correct. I want to send some good thanks to the guys named Mark Records and his son Ben and Vlad that came up from Cape Coral all the way up to play in this event. They were some really good guys. I met down my time as a real estate agent down in Fort Myers. Also, the 2 brothers over from Tampa, Aaron and Oscar Rodriguez, who showed up like Kellhounds dressed up to the T like
costume.
It was a costume. That was great.
That was funny too. And they were in character the whole time.
Yes, they were.
Okay.
And then, of course, I had Zino and Zeno. Even.
Yeah, I got to play a book against both of them.
Jonathan. We had. Let's see, who else? Oh yeah, Jose. You were there.
Steve, man.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yep. Steve and
it was fun up to
Randall.
a point. Yeah.
I mean, but everybody seemed like they had a good, surprising fun at it with the not knowing what you're going to get. And I think still to this day, the most brutal pull that I saw was when somebody got a Kodiak. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I picked the Turkina. That was a good one.
I got a Mercury.
Yeah. So I came in dead last on that one. I got to give myself props. I survived dead last. Didn't get any objectives. The entire.
You even beat me dropping out.
Yeah, here's the finals, guys. Again, Aaron, he got. I did this all based on objectives that you gained. He gained 10. Zeno came in second with 8. Jonathan came in third with 6. Oh shoot! Wait a minute. Oscar was ahead of him. Sorry, my apology. Oscar was ahead of Jonathan. Steven came in. Ben, Randall, Kai, Vlad, Jose, Mark, and Griffin. Everybody just it was just fun, and I look forward to doing these type of things again.
Yeah,
and I
thought it was dead last. So I won 2 of my matches, but I still didn't get enough.
You only got 3
objective
objectives.
Points. Yeah,
you only got 3. You were dead last. I was trying to save some face for you, bro.
I thought I was because I got 0.
I dropped you out of it complete.
Yeah, well, still, like I said, I had to get going.
And I have.
I gotta say this
extra.
though. Hold up. But when we were doing lineups, and Jonathan came up and he's like, "I'm playing against you, Brad." I was like, "Dude, do you understand? I'm not gonna be playing for any objectives." He's like, "I want a piece of you." I was like, "All right, fine." So we went toe to toe, man, and I think I gave Jonathan a hell of a fight. He was just like playing. It was first battle was what, King of the Hill?
Yeah,
I think it was.
King of the Hill, King of the Hill first match.
He tried so hard.
All right. So, what was that email address?
Yeah, give us that email address where you can send your questions about anything you wanted to ask us at MHQ. That's not limited to anything in the gameplay. If you have, like, say, a bunch of miniatures and you don't know how to build an army, send that list and tag me, Brad, as like, and I'll put it together for you and put an army that should do you good if you play it right.
Okay. The email address is mhqpodcast@gmail.com.
That's simple.
Yeah, that's
easy
simple.
peasy.
And my comment I was going to make to Bradley when he was just talking about he has to remember about it when you're running a game. I'll give you all some other advice if you ever get into those games. Read the rules completely, because I thought we were playing a 350 format from Wolf's Dragoons. From Wolf.
Put it out there.
And it wasn't. So I came with an army prepared to be pared down to smaller units and not built for a continuous force.
No, the whole purpose of me doing that was 350 is a fun format game system. Okay, but I feel like why build an army if you can't use it all? All right.
Yeah.
Play with 350, and it seemed like everybody was able to still achieve objectives and play a good game. The only extra things that I added to that event was if you took out an opponent, you gain a victory point, and if you didn't lose more than half of your army, you got a victory point. I mean, so I was able to give it to where there's multiple ways for you to win off the battlefield other than just securing the objectives, and found that everybody was still able to play a very good game with 350. I think maybe in the future, if we want to imply that, maybe we make it to where players are playing with clan tech, and we make it only a clan error for that, and we convert to the WolfNet guys from 350 to 250, and they only play with the 250 army. It's almost like you're bidding. Okay, for this battle, I bid these guys.
You know what? Hey, I have a suggestion. If we're going to play clan, and why not make it where they have to come with a full trinary, 15 mechs, or 15 combined 15 mechs, 15 elementals.
Points.
You already see me do that bid. I've already did the bidding system when we played our cluster versus cluster. I bidded away 1 star just to show that we're going to teach you a thing or two about clan honor and show you that when you can maintain clan honor and still win a game against another clan opponent with lesser units. So playing with having a full trinary, it's okay. But I think really if we play a clan only era, it's definitely you build a 350 army, but you're only going to bid 250 of that army to take and win the objective, because now you're that star captain that wants to gain that
Okay.
that claim to a blood name or whatever be have the case of the story. I think it worked, and I sent the guys to coach a little feedback that, hey, we played 350 the full army, and I gave a full rundown of how it went down, and I think his response to me was pretty positive and like, hey, thanks for doing that, thanks for the information. So I mean, definitely anything we can do to help these guys get that WolfNet 350 format up to a really good game system to play for tournaments.
Yeah. So what else we got going on? We have any other events coming up that we know of that we're going to?
Only one we got is just the one that we're doing on February 1st for the Dragon's Roar for the battle at the end. The Battle Force 2 rules that are off in there that we just sat down and converted it. So we're going to do that as a group. So that's going to be fun for us.
That's 48. What is it? It's 6 companies, right?
No, you have eight companies, buddy.
8 companies. That's right.
You have 96 mechs, I think it is.
Yeah,
2
96.
full battalions and 2 companies of sort of light X.
Yeah.
Versus the remains of Beta Galaxy, a Smoke Jaguar, and Mikhail Ward. He configures his whole cluster to be effective as possible. And I tell you guys, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be fun, and I'm going to fight like a mofo. So bring your A game, boys.
Yeah, but you're only going to have one trinary. You're not going to have all 3 trinaries, so I'm not worried about that too much.
Oh, yeah, no, I got everything on the table. My team has been briefed on what their mission shall be. Isn't that right, Star Captain?
Oh, yeah. If I can make it.
Yeah, if you can make it. If you can't, we got a substitute for you, so we're good, bro. Just let us know, man.
Yeah, like I said, family matters.
Absolute.
We will be covering this on March's podcast, just so everyone knows. We'll have pictures up for it and stuff like that. It's a big narrative game, so that will be our March podcast. Like I said, February we'll have Michael Ravello with us.
Yep.
Looking forward to that. Is there anything else, guys?
No.
Is there anything else we need to wrap up tonight? Because we're now hitting at the hour and 30 minutes, I believe.
Yeah. No, we just now hit the hour mark.
Just hit that hour mark. Okay.
It's 7:30. So yeah, we just hit the hour mark. Okay, guys.
All right. Sounds good.
Till next time. Again.
Any last minute shout outs?
Just again, only to those guys that showed up for that December tournament that I ran. You guys definitely, I'll keep you, let you know if I do anything further down, man. So I appreciate everybody that came out to that game December 21st. I really enjoyed being the one hosting it instead of rolling the dice. It was fun.
All right, Randall, anything for you?
I want to pour one out for my homies at Nat 1. Nat 1 Games is now closed in Spring Hill. So sad to see them go. But about the same time, we had a new store open, Plot Armor Games. So that has become my new home up here. So it's not too far from where Nat 1 used to be.
All right, Jose, you got anything?
Not at this time. I mean, I'm showing a new guy at Ada this Monday night. His first Alpha Strike game. He started by playing Classic, but he wants to be able to use more units. So he's built a Lance, and I built a small Curita Lance to go up against him. Mechs he's never seen before, but that's okay. He'll need to see him sooner or later. But it should be interesting. Good. He's going to bring his wife. She's scared of Alpha Strike because of the number of units and the dice, and I keep telling her it's the card. It's just a card. It's just a little card. You don't need 50 sheets in order to run 50 units. You just need little cards, little it'll be the cards. So I'm hoping she sees that, because she's gotten to be extremely good at Classic. So
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. As for myself, I just want to shout out to everybody else, for our listeners. Thanks again for making this possible. We do appreciate you guys. We are growing, I see. We got a lot more people following us now, so thank you for following with us. I plan on working on my Paint Bay stuff. I know I've promised, That will get done. It's just life right now has been upside down for me as usual. But we do appreciate you guys following us and listening to us, our humble little podcast here in Florida. Just a thanks for everyone for being with us.
Yeah, boy.
Oh boy, what?
I said, yeah, boy.
Oh, I thought you said, oh boy. Anyways, all right, guys, we're going to wrap the podcast up tonight for the MHQ guys. We're signing off. Thanks again for joining us tonight, everyone, and we'll catch you on the airwaves next time.
All right.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.
Yeah.